I want to call to order the Horry County Solid Waste Authority regular meeting, Tuesday, June 25th, 2019. I will do the invocation, and I'll ask Mr. Boaz to do the Pledge of Allegiance. Can we bow our heads for just a moment? Father, we'd like to just take a minute to thank you for all that you have done and all that you continue to do. We ask that you special blessing for the solid waste staff, that they continue to do their jobs to serve the citizens of Horry County. We ask that you go with the board as we try to make those decisions that will be in the best interest of the people of Horry County. We ask a special blessing on all those who have attended and a special and safe trip on return. These and all other blessings we ask in your name. Amen.
Amen. Please stand and face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. I need to get an approval of the agenda.
Motion.
Properly moved and seconded. Are there any questions? All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, and the motion has been carried. The agenda has been approved. I need to get approval of the minutes from May 28th, 2019 regular meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded. Are there any questions? All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, and the minutes have been approved. I do not have any requests for public input, so we will move directly to the department reports. Up first will be recycling and corporate affairs.
Good evening.
Hello.
My report begins on page number. Anybody want to help me?
And I'm here.
16, yes, thank you very much. But before I get started on my updates, I would like to, if you haven't noticed as of yet, we've done some changes to our boardroom, to our multi-purpose room. We have updated our sound system. And Mr. Jim Bang with Strategic Connections is here this evening, who oversaw the upgrade. And I did want him to come up and just for about 2 minutes, just kind of give you a real quick overview of what we did. Come on, Jim.
Hello, everybody. I got suckered into this one by Esther, but I'm sure you all have at one point or another. The goal was to try to employ technology to give you a better experience for meetings, but to try to lessen the amount of technology that you see. So instead of microphones all over the place, they're hovering over our heads. We've improved the projection capabilities, updated things to HDMI, and the ability to play all kinds of media and record all kinds of media. What we see on the website should sound and look 100% better. And thank you for the opportunity. We've been helping you guys out for years and look forward to continue so. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This has been a long time coming. Our original system was put in when the building was built, so that was 2000, 2001 timeframe. So when
The
it took,
sound panels are doing a good job.
they do, aren't they?
Yes.
I noticed it even when they had only did that wall, and I came in and I could hear the difference. I almost cried when they took the VCRs out, but it's okay. I'm getting over it.
Yeah, but they're valuable as a museum piece.
We're still using cassettes.
I'm gonna hold on to some things, Mr. Rowe. My first update is on our solid waste recycling grant. This year, we did award 5 recycling grants to municipalities and agencies in the county. What I did, I have your update in your book, but I did ask if our recipients would like to come to the meeting tonight and just address you on what they use the grant funding for and how beneficial it's going to be in their programs. So we're going to start with the North Myrtle Beach Chamber of Commerce. We have Mr. Pete Brooks here, Ms. Cheryl Kilday. So if you all want to come up.
Good evening.
Hello. First of all, we're here to say thank you for the grant. We really want to make sure that the Chamber and Convention and Visitors Bureau, that we're doing our part to think about responsible citizens as well as responsible visitors. And we all care very much about our beaches and the quality thereof. And so Pete put together our grant application and managed it. So I'm going to let him do most of the talking this afternoon. But we just really wanted to say thank you and give you an update on what we're doing.
As you can see, we have packages in front of you.
Yes,
Our
thank you.
program was built based on getting businesses in North Myrtle Beach to reduce the amount of plastics and other wastes that they're using in their business. So it is pretty much not dedicated towards the citizens, but towards businesses in North Myrtle Beach, since that's what the Chamber of Commerce deals with. In your packages, you'll see each one of you have got a bag. And all the materials on the bag were paid for through the grant or through in-kind services with the Chamber of Commerce. So the first is, of course, the bag itself that you all have, which has got our logo on it. The City of North Myrtle Beach participated in the program with us, or in the development of the program in the Solid Waste Authority. They are biodegradable bags and all that. We did all the research to make sure that, we weren't creating a bigger problem with the bags and things that we have. So we have that. Each one of you, our program is developed by getting businesses to sign on. Once they sign on, there's a tip sheet on how they can reduce plastics, which is in your bag. So each business is given one of those out. Once they agree that they would like to participate, then we have them sign this pledge. And in your bag, each of you have a filled out form, a pledge form, that you can display in your businesses or wherever you'd like. Mr. Jones, I apologize, somewhere yours is either in somebody else's bag or in one of the extra bags, but I will get you another certificate. But each of you have got a signed certificate that gets in the program. They'll be able to display that in their business on the wall where their customers are coming in and out. We also designed a door sticker that they can put on the front sticker of the door. It's up in the upper left-hand corner, as you can see on the screen. And it basically says that they're participating in a recycling program or a waste reduction program in that business. The other thing that's inside your package is the PowerPoint presentation that we're going to give to groups and organizations as we travel throughout the North Myrtle Beach area. And it's just explaining the need, why we need to do it, what the Chamber's intentions are doing, or what we intend to do with the program, and then again, how they can participate in the program. So it's a brief PowerPoint slide, and those of you that joined us for our first Friday Business Builder Breakfast saw that presentation as we gave it at that point. And then the last thing is they get to, as they participate in the program, we have the metal straws. So they're not chopsticks, they're, different things for different people are asking. But we actually got some people just have the metal straws. We have the ones that have the cleaning straws that go with them. And in about the 2 weeks I think we've had them in the office, they've become extremely popular. So we have them for sale in our visitor center. And then, as I said, as people participate in the program, we're handing those out to help reduce the plastic straw issue. So we were actually kind of very surprised at how fast those things have taken off as part of the program. And there again, everything has got the logo of us, the City of North Myrtle Beach, and the Solid Waste Authority.
What are you selling those? How much are you selling?
I think they're $8 for the set of two. A lot of places are just selling the single straws, and they don't have the cleaning rod. Ours is the package of two, so I think it's like $8. Very reasonable. There again, the package that they're in is a biodegradable package. So put a lot of thought into all the different things that went into the program and all of our collateral materials. And once again, thank you for the grant. And I think we came out almost to the dollar, didn't we? A dollar spent. So we're very happy with the program. We certainly hope you are as well.
Outstanding. Well, thank you. We appreciate it.
And please refer any businesses to us that you'd like to join the program, so.
Are there organizations that you work with that you want us to go make the presentation to? Share that information with us as well. As we work on our outreach, we'd love to get out as much as possible and share the word and get people engaged, so thank you.
Great job.
I'd like to say too, we met with Mr. Kavanaugh in North Little League a couple of weeks ago. And Mr. Brewer actually recommended to Mr. Kavanaugh's group that we should look further than just bags. We need to look at the containers, and the food containers, styrofoam, other type plastics. So I applaud him for bringing that up, and I thought it was a good meeting, and Kavanaugh's putting the minutes together. He'll make a report to his city council, and we'll get.
What we've found is once we've ripped off the Band-Aid with, we're going to ban plastic bags, I think once that, now all of a sudden people are a whole lot more receptive to looking at other items. So thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next, we have City of Conway, Mr. Reggie Generis here.
Good afternoon. I want to thank y'all for the opportunity to apply for the grant for the city. We took the opportunity to purchase roughly 200 carts, and we passed them out to residential areas, to nonprofit businesses and businesses that didn't have room to put a cardboard dumpster in, and it made a tremendous difference in our recycling program. I think our numbers are up about an extra 10 tons a month. The program is really working, and I'm still having people call and ask me, do I have any more free carts? So this program was really well. The city is excited, and we just want to thank you for the opportunity to apply for the grant. Thank you.
Great job, man. You collect everything or just cardboard in these?
Well, we
Everything, all
collect
recycled.
everything with the carts.
Okay.
And it's just the fact that the blue carts draw a lot of attention and people.
Yeah, I like the color.
Adam Emmerich posted on Facebook that it was 10 to 12 tons per month
Yes.
that's
yes.
being recycled. So that's 10 to 12 tons that you're not having to pay for to go over our scales.
That's correct.
But it's a benefit to all of the county and the Solid Waste Authority because we're extending the lifetime of our landfill. So thank you what you're doing.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
And if you need more carts, you might want to reapply.
Yes.
Next, we have Ms. Christine Stokes from the City of North Myrtle Beach to talk about their recycling igloos.
Good evening. With funding from the Solid Waste Authority, we were able to purchase 5 recycling igloos. Those are actually 2 that have already been placed out in the community. The recycling igloos are used by our multifamily developments that are all over the city, as I'm sure you know. One was placed at, I believe, Tillman Beach and Racket, and the other one I think is at Shoreham 2. So one's in the Ocean Drive section and the other one's in Crescent Beach. We do still have the other 3. Our Public Works Director just told me that they have a quasi wait list. So I'm sure those will actually be, they'll actually call and reserve those very soon. We actually don't even have to, the city does not even have to advertise the recycling igloos to the multifamily developments. The HOAs actually contact the city directly and request them. And Public Works is very happy to say that every time they pick them up, they are always full. So we currently have 5 recycling igloos on the sanitation yard, 3 are from the grant, and then the other 2 are used as, for instance, after these are out for like 20 years or something, they'll kind of start to break down and that sort of thing. So those are actually used for replacements, but it makes a huge difference. We actually have, right now with assistance from Solid Waste Authority, we have 78 recycling igloos. So we're able to expand every year on our recycling for multifamily developments around the city. So we really do appreciate that. All right.
Thank you
very much.
Thank you.
Your solution.
Buck Creek Foundation, we have Mr. Dale Holt here, Ms. Lori Suggs, and Logan Holt here to talk about what they've done with their funding.
I want to say thank you also for, standing down here, for allowing us to take part in this grant program. Unlike some of the others, we're kind of brand new. So we had to put some of our money in infrastructure, and we've taken a part of the old Clarity Nursery property in Loris, and we're revitalizing that back. And part of what we were doing, or needed to do, was put a fencing up to secure it, because we're going to have special needs adults and youth come to our property to learn a transition skill to help them become more independent. And so today, actually, Ms. Esther did a good job in asking for some updated pictures. I just fell through in getting them to her in a timely fashion. But part of the privacy wall that we put up, we are turning it into a culinary herb garden. And so we're actually filling it up with herbs and plants and some other things that we can sell to the public. The biggest thing, another thing that we're doing is we're putting in a composting station, because we're going to grow produce and things, or we're going to focus on organically because of the special needs community that we're serving. So we're going to be getting some more compost from the Solid Waste Authority, but we're going to have to generate some as well. And so we've purchased some collection units and some composting equipment that's going to be on site, and we want to engage our immediate neighborhoods to help us to collect the organics necessary for us to start generating our own compost. So we've got bio bags coming with the different containers for restaurants and residential, and we want them to take part, because see, part of what we're trying to do is to grow our special needs community, and one way to do that is through community engagement. So we're not trying to isolate them, we're trying to help mainstream them. So we want people coming to our property, taking part, and working with our special needs community to help them gain a greater sense of independence and help them flourish. The key thing that we're going to grow are our people, but we're going to utilize a lot of different methods in which to do that. And so the composting is going to help us to have kind of a more endless supply, because a lot of what we're going to do at the nursery is container gardening. And so that's going to be a constant need for fresh nutrients and things going in the soil. And so we're going to engage the community to do that. But we also have an 11-acre farm that we've got to do some things with too. So that's kind of been our focus. And we appreciate you helping us to get this started. We've got some big dreams and ideas that's going to take place, and this is maybe not time to do that. But I do want to say thank you for giving us the opportunity for the grant. And we want to take and contribute to our community. We want to bring back a business to our community with our special needs community, and we want to be a place that people are proud to come and take part in. And so we've been a little slower in getting started because we've had community involvement, but the community that helps us get there is going to support us in the future. And so thank you again, and appreciate all y'all done for us.
Thank you.
Our last recipient was the town of Surfside Beach. Mr. John Adair apologized that he could not make the meeting tonight, but he did ask me to offer his thanks and gratitude for the grant that they used to purchase road parts for the town of Surfside Beach. And they also have put out a great deal of those and have seen increase in the amount of recycling that they're doing there. In total, to date, we have reimbursed grantees $39,897.36. So I think it was a great first year for our solid waste grant.
What I love are the spin-offs from these activities. I love hearing these reports. Thank you, all of you, for coming and reporting back to us on your progress, and keep us posted on the progress you're making, please.
And y'all are welcome to stay if you want to, but if you need to leave, we all understand. We'll stay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Have a good day.
The next update is on the Lake Arrowhead Kings Road Mini Recycling Center closure. Closure, that's the key word in that one, closure. On May 29th, that was right after our board meeting, we got an email from Mr. Gosnell indicating that we needed to move forward with taking necessary steps to close the Kings Road Mini Recycling Center. As you can see in these pictures, the mini recycling center became a large dump site. And it was taking 2 to 3 hours, about 3 days a week, just to keep it off the ground. But every time you went back, you had the same visuals of everything left on the ground. And what wasn't on the ground was shoved into containers. So we moved forward quickly. By the end of the week, the 31st, we had signage up that told the residents the site would be closing permanently the next week. That Friday, the 7th, we closed the center, put up some temporary fencing initially. And to our surprise, once the temporary fencing went up, no one left anything. Shocking. Very shocking. But the following week, the permanent gate and fencing was installed. Again, we have not had any illegal dumping to occur. I don't know. Don't know. I know. It's not there. And it's great that it's not
You
there.
hadn't found it somewhere else?
It's okay. I haven't found it yet. No, sir. No, sir. So I do want to give special thanks to Mr. Gosnell for making that decision. We've been talking about how best to handle this, and for at least the time being, this was the best route. Also, special thanks to Truman DeWitt, our heavy equipment operator, our truck driver, who had the task of cleaning the site up every week. And I told him if he sent me another picture, we were gonna have a sit down. So thanks to him for doing such a great job for the years that he had to do that. And also thanks to Jamie Suggs and Jeff Mishu, who, when we got the notice to move and close it, they were on top of it and got it done within a week. So we're glad. I talked to Steve. He hasn't received very many calls. We've received some. But most people, when they call, say, we understand why it had to happen. So we'll see what the future might hold for this site, but right now it's closed and it's clean. Two good things. Next update on the Horry County plastic bag ban. County Council at the County's Infrastructure and Regulation Committee meeting on June the 11th. Ms. Johnson was in attendance at that meeting. The county introduced a draft ordinance to ban plastic bags countywide. It was an ordinance that was initiated by Councilmember Bellamy, and it mirrored the ordinances of Surfside Beach as well as North Myrtle Beach. One caveat in the ordinance was the ordinance would not take effect until all other municipalities adopted similar or the same ordinance for their specific municipality. The INR committee moved the ordinance to the administration committee for their review and input. They met today, they met this afternoon. Mr. Ives was at that meeting also. The administration committee had some discussion on it. We're concerned about a couple of things, one being the ordinance not being in effect until all the municipalities actually signed on. They opted to table it for now, and they asked staff to contact the municipalities about their interest in developing a plastic bag ban for their particular municipalities. So for right now, it's on hold. And Mr. Ives, if you...
The positive aspect is that they're at least going to poll the other jurisdictions to know their positions. That is a positive.
Yes. Click a button. Myrtle Beach Art Museum Can't You See exhibit. I want to say thank you to those who were able to attend the preview showing on the 14th of June. We saw some wonderful works of art that were created from plastics and other materials that were found in oceans, seas, rivers, lakes, whatever body of water might have been found in. There were some pictures there on the screen. There's also pictures in your packet. Oh, sensitive. The next day, the Saturday after, okay, sensitivity level has nothing to do with the new system. It's just me. The day after, Mr. Knight, Mr. Ives, and myself, participated in the filling of Ringo. Ringo is the environmental sculpture the Solid Waste Authority sponsored as a part of the exhibit. We anticipated staying and helping some. We didn't anticipate staying and helping as much as we did. Poor Mr. Knight and Mr. Ives did have his hat on, but poor Mr. Knight didn't, so it was hot and wasn't much shade.
Don't show that to Jewel.
You'll be in trouble. But Ringo got filled, so if you're ever in the neighborhood of the Art Museum, please stop by and see Ringo. It's on display, full of plastic that has been reused.
We actually helped the museum by purchase of,
Children's Help, this is all plastics collected on the beach last month, delivered to the gallery, and we stuffed it all. Took till about 2:30 in the afternoon, but we managed to do it.
It was hot. Last but not least, our Clark Green Hand-Up recipient for the month of May was Mr. Eugene Parker. We were over at the Recycle Road Recycling Center, and everybody's initially taken aback when, and Jamie did this one if I'm correct, are initially taken back when you walk up to them and say, "Hi, I'm from the Solid Waste Authority." And I don't know why, but the first thing is always, "What did I do?" And then they're always pleasantly surprised that you're doing something right and something we appreciate. So he was a great recipient for this award. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll have finance and administration.
Good evening.
Hello.
The financial reports begin on page 36. We are now nearing our year end. Of course, we will be there in another week. But these reports, of course, are through the end of May. So through 11 months, as you can see, we are really doing quite well as far as our tipping fees and where we are as budget. As you can see, we are at solid waste at 95.82% of budget. Our mixed construction at 99.58% and yard waste at 92.79%. I definitely anticipate us reaching and exceeding where we had budgeted for this year, which is great. I do think the storm, of course, had a big impact on that, which is not so great, but still, like I said, I'm glad to see those numbers. As you can see, overall from last year, we're seeing a 9.5% increase over where we were last year at the same time. Recyclable sales continue to not be as great to mention, of course. As you can see, they're only at 64.69% of budget. And I know Mike will get into the prices and where he anticipates that going for this year and possibly next year. The C&D processing facility continues to do well. Like I said, they continue to take a great bit of material over there each month. It continues to be a little bit more. But as you can see, they've saved 55.79 days of landfill airspace so far year to date. And the materials recycling facility with the collection and hauling program, as you can see, has saved 68.64 days of landfill airspace. So between the two of them, like I said, they're doing a great job. And of course, the store is at 0.01% of days of landfill airspace. So it's continuing to.
We just started measuring.
That's exactly right. We just started tracking this. So hopefully we'll see more of that next year. Over on page 38 is our income statement. As you can see for the month, we did have expenses over revenue for the month, which is kind of what we anticipate when we hit right here at the year end. Like I said, we've got a lot of things kind of catching up with, that kind of thing. But as you can see overall, revenue is at 93.65% of budget, with expenses being at only 82.78% of budget. And year to date, we have revenue over expenses of $2,975,194.52. Again, like I said, I have to commend Esther and Mike and everyone for continuing to watch their expenses every month, really cutting things where necessary, holding the expenses. They've done a great job this year, which has made it, made it a good year for us for sure. Last thing I kind of wanted to take a look at, of course, is on page 46, which is the C&D recycling facility. And like I said, I know Mike will get into this a little bit more, but just wanted to point out, as you can see, for the month of May, they took in 1,444.24 tons over there, which is 200 tons more than they did the previous month. So they're doing a great job of taking more material, processing more each month over there. The last page I have is on page 50, which is just a FEMA update. I just want to provide for you the figures of what the project totals were, what we hope to receive from FEMA. And one great news was the temporary road project. We did receive a check from FEMA yesterday for the $78,808.85. The Portable Scales project is still under review, which it is what they consider a little bit bigger project, so it does take a little bit more review. But anyway, just so glad. That's the first FEMA check I think I've ever received as long as I've been here. I was so excited, I didn't even know what to do with it. But, so yeah, so like I said, we were excited to see that. Any questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you. Questions? Ms. Besson?
Thank you. Let's see if I can do this without messing it up. All right, landfill up. All right, we got the video playing. There we go. Oh.
How long has the system been in?
An hour or two.
Okay, I was gonna say next time you take a little
We'll have to
time
have a
practice
training
that.
session.
Real sensitive. There we go.
You went too fast, Mike.
All right, hold on now.
There you go, leave it alone.
There we go. So this is our C&D facility. You know, this is where we're putting C&D. We back up, we're starting a new lift. So you'll see two faces open here. We're currently putting material in here, and over here we have our small trucks. On the landfill, we separate the small trucks from the large trucks. So we kind of keep them over to the side. We give them a better driving area and stuff. So we definitely try to keep them separated. It seems to work better that way. But currently, they're now working all in the same place. We were starting to build a new lift. As you can see, we are going over to the MSW Hill, and this is our old drone actually started messing up. We had to get another one, so this is a new drone. It was a real good picture. So you can see the beach back there. If you look,
Yes.
see the hotels anyway. But we have already finished this lift completely out and have started on another one right here in this area. These, as we move across here, it's taken about 2 weeks. So we figuring sometime within the month of July, we're gonna have this area completely done, and we'll come back up with another 20-foot lift and go 20 foot higher. So it's moving along pretty well if you think about how long we've been in this area. But as you can see, the equipment's working and the compactors are packing, and that's a cat there, right? But I had to say that for Mr. Cannon. Anyway, we've got that running, and that's it. So let's move on. Any questions on that? Okay. All right, our C&D recycling, as you can tell, we have, as Jan said, we took in 1,444 tons. Our goal is to try to take about 1,500 tons a month in over there and process 1,500 tons. So we're working on that. We strive to do that. We hope that our average will end up being about 1,500 tons a month. Our recycling rate for May of 2019 was 78.9%. So 78.9% of material we take in there, we're taking it back out as recycling. As part of this facility, we also now are doing black mulch, and this seems to be selling well. So out of this facility. Let's go slow, all right? The MRF update, this is the building that we've been trying to get built. It is now, as of this afternoon, completely closed in. It is closed in. It has everything but the doors up in it. Of course, we got to put the doors and the lighting and stuff like that in it. But the outside and the roof is on. So that was earlier this week. It took them about a week to put it up. So, I mean, it went pretty fast. Because once they got the foundation done, it moved forward. Also in the MRF, one other thing I want to let y'all know, we had a haulers meeting at the MRF on June 5th. We notified all the haulers at that point in time that we have what's called a misrepresented load fee over here at the landfill. So if you bring something in and it's extremely contaminated, there's a penalty. It's a $150 penalty. But we're now implementing that over at the MRF. We're moving it as part of it's a policy that we have, so we're now going to utilize that policy at the MRF. Where if you come in, you got a lot of film, a lot of garden hoses and things like that in it, then there'll be a $150 fee. What we've got is a lot of your Tanger outlet stores, the cardboard is coming in as the main issue from a lot of your private haulers and things. For the cardboard's coming in, when they take everything out of the cardboard box, they stuff the film back down in it, they stuck the styrofoam back in, and you can't get it out. Then it makes the cardboard contaminated and we can't sell it. So we have to break it back open to get that material out. And the hauler's response was to us, if you'll just give us a letter, we'll pass that on to the customer. So we've done that. And that's going to start effective July 1, unless y'all got some issue with it that I wouldn't be aware. Any questions on that? Last month, we took in about 1,900 tons of material into the MRF. Pricing, as you can see on page 56, the pricing is a problem that we have. As you can see the chart, you continue to see HDPE drop, our natural and our colored. Pricing is dropping on plastics. To give you an idea, I put some numbers together. In May of 2018, we were selling cardboard for $85 a ton. In May of this year, we sold it for $43 a ton, and that's on page 57. $31.61 a ton this month. $57 a ton for May of 18 for newspaper. We sold it for $59. We did get an increase in newspaper this month to $73 a ton. Our office paper has went from $214 to $156, and this month it's at $126. From May of 18 to current on fiber products, there has been a 27.6 cent reduction in revenue to the money we're getting for that product. In our plastics, there has been a 60% reduction in revenue for those materials. And everybody I'm talking to says nothing's going to change for 12 months. This month we did about $50,000 in revenue, so in the month of June. It is, yeah, it's been a tough month. It's been a tough time with this fiber pricing like it is, and nobody sees it changing. Well, what you find is that the MRFs are not even been able to sell it. At least we've been able to get rid of it. That's the bright side of this thing, is we've been able to get rid of that material at least that much. And when it's costing you $250,000 a month to operate a facility and getting $48,000, the money comes from the landfill. Is where it comes from to pay for those recycling programs. We bid it, we look for new bidders, we have buyers come in and look at the product, and we're lucky to the point we can get rid of it, because a lot of people can't. We don't have any stored up. Any questions?
Yeah, there are a lot of horror stories in the press about where the waste is going once it's shipped overseas. What are we doing to follow up with the persons who purchase our material to make sure they're going to proper facilities?
We don't.
The price they're paying, they're going somewhere, or they wouldn't pay as much as they are. It's not the income we're getting.
Yeah.
They're paying enough. They're not just dropping in a ravine somewhere, and they're paying transportation costs. We ought to have some way of confirming that it's going to a legitimate.
You have to realize, we sell it to a broker.
Right.
We don't sell it directly to, and all we know is it may be going to Indonesia, it may be going somewhere, I don't think they'll tell us, I've never tried to.
So they're
Tell
not
us-
tracking it, they're not tracking where it's going.
Yeah, they're not telling us exactly who their buyer is, because they don't want it to be out who they're selling product to.
That's proprietary to them.
Yeah.
I
And-
think the key there is these brokers know if the material's not good, they'll have to pay to bring it back. A bunch of containers shipped back to Canada.
Yeah,
It
Philippines.
wasn't up to standard, so, we do everything we can do to, make sure the material leaves. We got pictures, people that loaded it signed off on it, people that failed it signed off on it. But I think the key is what they're paying.
Yeah.
Actually come and look at our facilities, check the stuff on site, to make sure it's good material. And, I think
That's the key.
that's the key.
I would think they wouldn't, a broker wouldn't wanna buy anything that he's gonna have to take back.
That's right.
Right.
I mean, cause what's he gonna do with it once he gets it back?
You know, you used to see people come visit the facility, one time every 2 or 3 months. But they're constantly visiting anymore. So if they buy materials, they'll come 2 or 3 times during the month to take pictures of it to make sure the quality is still there. So it's a constant, it's a whole new marketplace out there right now. We got a call, we sold steel today, or yesterday, for $100 a ton. Today, we got a call from that buyer that said the price on Monday is $50 a ton for steel, scrap steel.
I guess the question you just asked reminded me of that, being potentially responsible parties. We aren't following everything we do to its final thing. Even though we did our due diligence where the electronics were concerned. What are we gonna do when they're cleaning up one of the floating islands and they see a thing with some sticker on it?
Well, Nike now is facing that with all these tennis shoes they're finding.
Right.
I guess we can get a ticket and Mike Campbell on one of them boats.
Pick them all up.
Where it's going.
I guarantee you.
Container ship.
We may need to quit sticking our ticket on there.
Well,
Put somebody else's sticker on there.
it's tough to follow from here to the end marketplace.
Right, I mean, I don't know what more we would have done with the electronics, frankly,
Yeah,
or this, but yet in some way, I kinda have this little
feeling that
that
it'll
says,
come back
man,
at
we're
some
gonna
point.
have a
But
problem.
remember, SWA means Southwest. Just because we put SWA on there,
Yeah.
we can always say it was Southwest.
I think a key thing to us sending it over there is that we're sending it separated properly and it's not hazardous material. You know, so when.
Liability.
Yeah, liability wise, what we're sending over there is a commodity, not a waste. Because once we separate it and clean it up and send it properly, it's a commodity. And, you know, the court of law, anything can change, but I think that's an argument that we could use.
Mike, let me ask you a question. You said we made $50,000. What's the cost to operate the MRF?
A little over 200,000 a month.
How long are we gonna be able to operate the MRF that's costing $250,000 a month, and we only bringing in $50,000? That's profit. Is that profit that we brought in?
No.
No. That's total dollars.
You gotta realize, we didn't sell aluminum this month, we didn't sell plastics this month, it was cardboard, fiber. we were selling newspaper for $5,000 a load going out of here, and today we're getting about 1,500.
Understand that. I mean, I understand what's going on in the market.
But our mission has always been, even if it costs the Solid Waste Authority, we weren't gonna landfill it. We pushing programs, and that's the mission the board has given us, and that's the way we look at it. So if we're losing money over there, all I gotta do is try to keep costs as low as I can, minimize cost, gotta still get a good product, and the revenue will be supported out of the landfill, any losses.
Well, I told Mike today that we got a year. Cost to recycle and keep it out of the landfill. That project going, we're gonna have to look at raising the tipping fees to cover the China situation that we in to.
But we also give people a break, don't we, on bringing stuff to C&D for the recycling, and we don't charge as much when we pick up.
There's no tipping fee at the MRF for recycling.
Okay.
Bring it.
Right. I think at some point, and I don't think it's ever paid for itself, as long as I've been here, I don't think so. And I do think we need to keep recycling, and I do think we need to do those costs. But I also think we might need to have a meeting and take a look at
I'd just like to know.
doing that, at least to make it break even.
And we need a plan.
You need a plan, because when I read and look on the news, a lot of MRFs are closing. I mean, people are just, said, hey, it's just, we can't do it. And we know that recycling is not big dollars. And so, we just need to have some conversation about how is that gonna continue? And what kind of drain is that gonna put
We need tip
on
points.
the landfill side?
We need tip points with an action when it gets
And,
to this
to a
point.
certain point, yes.
Yeah, see, I got a call from Florence County about a month ago, Danny? Said, can I bring my material to y'all? And I said, well, Rusty, the administrator, I've known him a long time, Rusty. I said, what's the problem? And he said, well, Waste Management is now gonna charge me $90 a ton for Sunoco to take it. So Sunoco wants $90 a ton to take the products from the people. So there's everybody looking for a way to try to cut those costs, but $60 to $90 a ton is not unheard of right now for recyclable products. We've never done that here, and it would have an effect on all your city budgets and all your county budgets. It would be, so, I mean, it's a board decision, but it's something that definitely needs to be thought through.
I think
I just think it's a
we need to have a
conversation that we need
discussion
to
on
have.
that.
That's all.
It may have an effect on their budgets. It also has one on ours.
That's right.
And one thing that I remember that a lot of the people from the cities, the mayors and everything told us was, we don't want you to wait 19 or 20 years again to raise a fee. We prefer you do it $1 at a time, a year at a time, $2. Than to all of a sudden in 20 years, want to raise it $10
I think that
or
was one of the
$15 or
problems that we
$20.
had, you waited so long.
Yeah.
Until people just figured why do you need it now? You've been waiting.
And I think this year will give us an opportunity to look at the markets, see where we are. Got to be paid for some way.
Exactly.
A lot of people that's in MRF, money, they don't have a landfill to defend. They just shut the gate and tell people take it someplace else. If we shut the gate at the MRF, it'd be awful hard for the cities and.
Yeah, we
Yeah, the program's done once you
Once
cut it
you
off.
stop it, it's just about over.
Yeah.
We don't want to do that.
No, we don't, but I do think we need to look at some different things and to go to that discussion. There are some things that we used to be able to recycle or sell that no longer can, and things in the future that we may not. So what we've been taking and giving people a free pass on is really not recycling.
And that's why we implemented a misrepresentative load fee, is to try to say, you gotta clean it up so we don't have to.
Right, so, we need to look at that, But I also think that fits in with what we were testifying about plastic bags, the people in Columbia not banning the counties and municipalities from banning things in their district. And the reason I still don't think they should is because of the monies and the problems that we are experiencing. That our representatives really don't understand, I don't think. And I think that needs to be a part of this discussion, is what is recyclable within our means and what is not. And somehow working toward a bill in the future for whatever is made, to be made in the part where we can recycle it and actually realize some kind of break even or profit from that recycling if we allow those things to be used in this county and in these municipalities. And I think from listening to some municipalities that have worked with us on recycling and the chamber that sees the need to do it within the business community, that a lot of people are on board with this. And it's a discussion that we need them to help us with in Columbia. Because we actually need to know what we can recycle, what we can't, what it costs, what we can do to change this, and to change it as easily as possible, and to work it in there, not just, a big thing right then, but to help everybody, because I think the municipalities and the counties would prefer us to work that out to save them money than just to keep raising fees. We're gonna have to raise fees, but other than that, there are other things we can do that would save money and work within that system better.
Yeah, you gotta realize, when we get the system upgraded, our labor costs will go down dramatically because it'll be done with computers. So we're doing that to reduce our labor, to reduce our overall cost. So that's gonna be a positive, but, we work on it every day, look at it, look at the numbers, talk about them, make sure rejects are low. But with the product coming in, it needs to be cleaner so we can we having to increase labor to get the product cleaner because it's coming in so contaminated. So our idea was put the onus back onto the person that's bringing it back in. And if you bring it back in, not saying we won't take it, but we're gonna have a penalty on there to help us pay for that cost to separate and clean it up.
I think you and the staff are doing an excellent job in that and keeping us informed. But I think it's time now that the board starts really looking at some things that would work better and work with municipalities and county leaders and our leaders in Columbia to make this work. Because I think you as a staff are doing the best you can to get it done.
Thank you.
Who's on the who's my recycling chairperson? Carl, you the recycling chairperson?
Not that I'm aware of.
I think it would probably go up under the operations.
What I'd like for you to do is, and I think it's time that we have a recycling meeting. And so I'd like for you to take this and call together a recycling meeting so we can discuss some of these issues again. You might be President-elect Pence said, are we still able to take everything that was recycling? Just kind of talk to it and see where we are with that. You mind doing that?
Mike, I'd like to compliment you on your ultimate division of foresight, because under new business, I got down D, which is hosting the League of Cities here in this building for their next meeting. And at that time, we could discuss the recycling program with them.
That's fine. You chair. I'll leave that. You just send out the invitation. We'll be here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You might want to have a recycling meeting to know what you're going to discuss with them before they get here.
Well, I understand.
Rehearse it and how to work the screen.
Yeah, please come and take a training lesson.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
Also, the collection and hauling department, I want to talk a little bit about it. The collection and hauling department, I want to let you know a little bit, all the reports that you see in your board packet on page 60 through 66 is done manually. It takes about 25 hours of time every week to generate those reports manually. We are in the process of having a computerized system installed in our hauling trucks that will generate those reports for us. Less error.
Smart move.
It's a GPS system that when it pulls up to the can, it knows. We do estimates on the tonnage. This system will actually weigh it and tell us the exact amount of tonnage we got out of Myrtle Beach, unincorporated area, all the cities. Currently, we have to do estimates. Pretty close estimate, but pretty good estimating thing. It's been generated from a long time ago, but it's definitely something that we're putting into the system to try to save us some money. It'll also tell us when containers are overlapping in the same area, the same day, 2 different trucks. So it'll help us with our routing. All that's being put in place and should have that done sometime this summer. So I want to make you all aware of that. Household hazardous waste. We just shipped out 23.32 tons of household hazardous waste this month. Paint was 14.7 tons of that, and batteries was another 3.77 tons. 3.77 tons of batteries. That's a lot of batteries.
You got the little ones?
Yeah, no car battery.
Yeah, the little batteries.
Yeah, a little.
So imagine almost 4 tons of those little batteries stacked up somewhere.
When you ship them out here, what do they do with them? Where do they go?
Where do they go? What happens?
They go to a facility where they have to be recycled. So they take them apart and recycle.
They don't have our sticker or decal on it.
No.
Now, we have to wrap these batteries before we ship, right?
Yeah, we have to prepare them before they ship. So they don't arc.
If you're not careful.
Yeah, so they don't arc. Better put tape on the end of the batteries.
I hope so, but I doubt it.
So anyway, in FY18, we generated 83 tons of material come from the household hazardous waste. So far this year, it's 115 tons. So it has increased by almost 30 tons, a little over 30 tons in FY19. And that stuff is not cheap. So let's give you a little idea about that.
Since we're shipping them batteries out, are we covered versus the electronics problem we got in?
Yeah, and they have to be bonded and all that. We put all that stuff out to bid.
Well, the electronics people did too.
Yeah, but they went bankrupt.
Yeah.
They went bankrupt. To
That-
give you a short explanation, I don't think you were here when that started with electronics, but the federal government saw fit to put in one of their regulations that anyone that touches these materials is called a potentially responsible party. And when someone sues you in court, everyone that has ever touched it is potentially responsible, and you will pay your part. So, and even though you have a bonded and you do it right and you pay for it, you may end up paying for it again. And you can't get out from under that in any way I've ever seen.
We'll be reliable for everything we generate for as long as this place is here.
As long as this place is here.
We got a driver of the month, Matt Liebman, with the city of Surfside Beach. He is married with 1 child. The employees on the landfill picked him for the driver of the month, of course, for the city of Surfside. And last, but definitely not least, we had an employee that passed on to his reward. He retired a couple years ago and was diagnosed with an illness. We went to his funeral on Saturday. But he's passed on, Herman Graham. So he passed, and please remember his family in your prayers. All right, that's all.
Thanks, Mike.
Good things that Ms. Creech has been talking about,
Have we rehearsed on the new script?
We want to see you stand up there and work that.
As nervous as she's got me on these liabilities, I feel all over. Page 71, it's kind of a breakdown with finalized paper on the Carolina Pines settlement lawsuit. Give you a little bit of background. We was dealing with a company out of Florida that was certified, had all the bells and whistles and certificates. And, we shipped our stuff to Raleigh. Unknown to us, they had a storage warehouse in Blackwood. And they filled that thing up and then went bankrupt. Owned the storage warehouse sued everybody that they was in the records of the company. And the way the court looked at it, they took everything that we shipped to the company. I mean, 70% of the company's receivables. They figured we should have had 70% of the stuff that was in that warehouse. We had one pallet in there with our name on it. So they sued, and as you can see on page 71, sued in February 2016. They said our portion was $616,751. Went to mediation, they figured it was worth $214,000. So, Lexington County and Solid Waste Authority, we'll go to court. We'll let a federal judge make a decision on this. It was a bench trial in Columbia, and judge's decision came back $168,000. He used the same figures on what the company sued about. You had 70% in your records that you sent to these people, so you had to have 70% in that warehouse. We had a good lawyer. They put a lot of time and effort in it. Jan and I went to the mediation. That was about a 12-hour situation, and of course, all the lawyers was getting paid, and I don't think they wanted to mediate. Clock was ticking, but as you'll see, our final cost was $200,401 on this situation, and it was a company that was. Everything.
Yeah.
That's everything, settlement, our fees, our salaries, our time and effort wasn't in this. This was just a professional.
One thing I'd like for the new members to know is this: when the state banned electronics from the landfill, they were discussing, the makers, the manufacturers of electronics were actually supposed to kick in and pay for the counties and municipalities once they had banned that. There was enough lobbying going on, the state did not consider that to make the manufacturers responsible for this. The other thing our new members need to know, and that's one reason we need to work with Columbia somehow, some way, is that they told us we had to use the companies they licensed or they did the permitting for.
Okay.
This was the only company we didn't have any other. They vetted them. They gave them the permitting license. We had to use them.
They weren't included in the lawsuit.
Yeah,
And they
state
were-
was.
Yeah, no,
There was companies that had stuff in that warehouse at Blackwood, and I told them, I said, why would anybody truck stuff from Maury County to Blackwood when they could get to Raleigh, North Carolina quicker? But there was companies in there that had stuff. There was hospitals and IGAs and everything had stuff in there, but they weren't brought into the lawsuit. Neither was DHEC brought in, because when they banned e-waste, state had a contract with this company. Big deal was it's not gonna cost you anything, we've already got a contract. And then all of a sudden, they said, well, school boards can use the contract, state agents use the contract, but counties can't. So then we were shut down, not having a place, so we piggybacked on the state bid, picked this crowd to do it.
And for the life of me, I do understand and was shown the federal law where everyone who touches it is a potentially responsible party. But I cannot understand the judges choosing to charge us for 70% when in fact only one bill of our stuff was found in Van Buren. That I do not understand the judge's
And our,
thing from.
and our lawyer fought that deal, he was very vocal with it.
And the other counties did, but they got charged for theirs too.
They got charged 70% or they got
No, they got charged for whatever percentage
whatever
they
it
thought.
was, okay.
Yeah.
But those two fought it. There was about 8 or 9 more in it that just said, we just gonna pay the settlement and we gonna, whatever you say we owe, we gonna do it. We're not going to court, so.
They didn't know, they didn't have a very high percentage either.
We were defended by the Association of Counties. We ought to have
To a
the
degree.
party, all the people who were involved need to bill the state back. It's unfunded liability. We paid the vendor 100% of what he billed, and we had to pay this. That's 3
Times we paid for it.
Yeah.
and the state needs to step up. And we should send them the bill.
I said that a long time ago.
Well, let's send them the bill.
Easier said than done,
That's
right?
right.
We watched the program at Paul's about cleaning up those tires in Berkeley. And warehouse in Columbia, they didn't. That's, what I have on that, the, page 72, Freedom of Information Act. We pulled our Freedom of Information Act out, reviewed it, and, we're now updating our existing plan based on the last changes that the state approved, statewide. And the red line is what we're actually changing. Anything is 2 years or younger records. We've got, if somebody requests information, we got 10 days to tell you, we got your request, we got 30 days to get it back to them. 20 days. I think you will see anything that's older than that, we got 35 days to get the information to the people. But we want to go ahead and recommend doing these changes. Get our Freedom of Information Act up to state change. Second.
Properly moved in second. Are there any questions? All those in favor, let me know by saying aye. Aye. Ayes have it, and the motion is carried. I think it's a good move, because, Danny does spend a lot of time. Absolutely. On requests, and I think this is a way of, number one, making sure when people request that they really want it, and instead of just saying, let me send down there and expect, Danny to get it back to them the next day. So I think it's a good move, and then I think we really need to start paying for something. If you ever go to a printing shop to have something printed, you'll realize that this is a reasonable cost right here, very reasonable.
Yeah.
You know,
Not
my
only
opinion.
that, I think we lift ourselves liable because if everybody's not cut out of that same bowl.
Well,
But I think
you're
if
right.
you give one something tomorrow when they ask for it tonight, and we get in a legal situation or whatever, where we decide we're gonna go by this rule.
I think you're right, I think,
First
you know,
question
because,
why can't I have it?
Yeah,
more
because
like
if one
everybody else
person is
does?
getting it the next day, the next person is gonna say,
think
why
Puts
did
us
I
in
get
a defensible
Make sure we use it for everybody, for everything.
it? So this should be a standard, that we use for everybody.
I also think with us, we have not been doing a lot of permitting lately, so, I don't think a lot was said about it. We are public, people are welcome to come in and see whatever and get that information. But because we're going to be working with permits and because we're going to be using engineering services, getting that information that quickly is not gonna be possible and it's gonna be expensive, unless people want to come in and look themselves. So I think it's at a point that we definitely need to enact that, and everybody has to do that correctly. And if there are questions that are asked that they can't see in what we have filled out in our permits, that they want something that would cost us an engineering fee or whatever, that's gonna have to be tacked on. Because that is very costly.
I think that's, the proper way to go. I don't want people coming in and saying, well, I'm working on a permit, and have Danny stop and try to show them what's going on with a permit. If you want a permit and we're working on it and you wanna pay for it, then get it. And if you have other questions and we need to get more answers and we gotta get more paperwork printed, then pay for that as well.
There's a
Because
policy in place
Yeah.
to assure that everyone is treated
equally,
same.
it's not that one person come in and get it, the other people. So you got a policy in place now. You fill it out, you ask for it, you pay for it. And that's transparency, and I don't think anybody should have a problem with that.
Puts us in a defensible space.
Same rules.
Things, yeah.
Yeah.
Page 77, it's time, to talk about the, associate, service that we, hired them to do. Page 78, gives you an idea of what they're doing at the State House for. There's a pay schedule, page 79. I think when we selected Beam and Associates, we put out a request for qualification. We had two firms take a look. We looked at two firms. We selected Beam and Associates, and this is the same price that we've used for years and years. We have not gone up on the fee. Dr. Beam and, Eddie Pierce worked with him, so we getting two people, this price or more, anybody that he calls in, we don't have to pay them separate. It's all in this, monthly payment. With everything going on at the Capitol, it'd be my recommendation to go ahead and
I would say we should too. I have worked with Mr. Beam and Patty when I've been testifying at the Senate. I think it's going to start again next year. And I know that he has already been working with the chairman of that committee, that they set a committee, for people, responsible parties to discuss this. He's working toward getting me on the committee or someone here at this table on that committee, if it is me or not. And I think he's done a good job with that, and I'd like him to continue with it.
Second it.
It's been properly moved in second. Are there any questions? All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Ayes have it, motion's carried.
Next issue is page 84. The cost of living adjustment. And we wanted additional information on where the funding would come from and what I had. The page on 85 is each department that we have. The signatures down here on the side is those department managers and signed off on, they agreed with the prices that's coming. Bottom line budget will be the same. We're taking bits and pieces from the different line items, and as you go through, page 86 is Department 501 Administration, and this is those line items that we're taking the $6,900 out for the 501 Department of Administration to department amount of funding. 4.4%. We already had, 3.3 budgeted already. So we had to come up 1.1%, I guess, to hit the 4.4. County collection system, as you'll see, that's out of their budget, that will not be.
Appreciate this, especially since staff recommended what their expenditures were going to be for the year. We elected to give the increase. It wasn't proposed. So it wasn't planned, but they found ways to work it into their existing budget. And I applaud them for doing that.
And we wanted to do it that way, other than just taking it out of a piece of equipment or something like that. I wanted them to be a part of it, and they did, and they stepped up, and they found a little bit of funding in different places to make their work. So it's still my recommendation to go ahead and approve the 4.4.
Kenny, is this, the merit, is just, is there will be no merit
There
now?
will not be a merit this year.
Okay.
It's just the cost of living, and it will slide the whole pay scale up. Next year, they'll still be evaluated.
Right.
Now, if you evaluate it unsatisfactory, that means one thing.
That means you don't get 4.4?
You don't get the work the next day if you're careful.
That's what I was fixing to say. Wait a minute.
That means you don't get the 4.4.
Even if they were perfect, they will not get a merit this year.
Okay.
Because we're using this cost of living to slide the whole.
To be that merit.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure that we were on the same track.
We accept this.
4.4.
I second.
That's right. Properly moved in second. Are there any questions? All those in favor, let it know. Be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, and the motion has been approved. Any other questions for Dennis? Committee reports and the Operation and Planning Committee, May 30th through 19th. I think that was you, Mr. Campbell.
Yes, sir. The Operation and Planning Committee met on May 30th. Michael Hughes, Mr. Norfleet Jones, and Mike Campbell were present. Mr. Bessett and Mr. Stetter represented the staff. Mr. Bessett had accepted bids on 3 pieces of equipment for the landfill. We discussed the specifications, we discussed the prices. Everything seemed to be in order. The prices were within the budget, and the staff was gonna go ahead and issue purchase orders for the equipment. You got anything to add, Mr. Bessett?
Mike, let's explain the compactor a little bit, where if that question comes up later on, they understand what we did on the compactor.
The compactors we put out for, on our tier 4 compactors, we've been having issues with. And it's not just ours, it runs through all lines of equipment, not just Caterpillar, but tier 4 has been an issue throughout the industry. They just hadn't got it figured out yet, in my opinion. So what we did is we asked for a recertified tier 3 unit. Okay? So recertified, that means we'll get all the new, not new components, all components that's 50% war or less will be replaced. The machine will be taken back down to the metal, fix the chassis, whatever. It'll be basically brand new when it gets done. We'll have a brand new engine in it. It will also have a 10,000-mile warranty on the engine. It'll have a 6,000-mile warranty on the powertrain. 6,000 hours. So if it's the 6,000 hours on the powertrain, so, you know, typically we get a 10,000. So we're about 4,000 hours short on a recertified. That's about the best you're gonna get on a recertified unit. It's a unit, it's an Aljon, and it's fairly simple to work on. It's just got some hydraulic pumps on it and some hoses. It has a Caterpillar engine in it. And so the local Blanchard Equipment Company can operate on it and do the warranty on it. And the other stuff will be shipped from the manufacturer of Aljon. So that's the compactor.
The bid was based on their knowledge of the equipment or their expected repair, replacement of it that's involved?
When you say they, who are you saying, the Aljon company?
Yes.
The Aljon company, you know, went bankrupt back about 3 or 4 years ago. The company that made the piece of equipment for the Aljon company bought it and started remaking them. And the guy that's doing the rebuild, which is Tri-County up north, he stepped in when Aljon went bankrupt and started repairing all the units throughout the United States that were Aljon. He was the Aljon man. And he's the one that's going to be rebuilding this. He has been recertifying them and rebuilding them for years. And he will do this, but we're buying it through the Aljon Corporation now.
Is he taking the risk, or are we on parts that can't be refurbished and need to be replaced?
They will for the first 6,000 hours. 6,000 hours on it, they will. After that, it becomes ours. Now, we've got to realize we normally have been paying about $1.2 million. This one here's about $650,000.
I was just going to say, we're at least getting equipment that's on par with new equipment and not paying new equipment price.
Right.
But you're not going to tell us later and remind us, oh, that's the refurbished equipment, that's why it's not lasting.
Yeah, we expect it to last about 10,000 hours because that's what the motor's going to be in.
The warranty is going to be.
For the motor's going to be for 10,000 hours.
They're not gonna stand good for the pieces of the equipment that we do not refurbish.
No. Only the one that we're buying from them that
Only
they
one that you're
refer.
buying from them that they actually refurbish.
That's right.
How did we end up with a Caterpillar engine?
We asked for it.
Got it. Okay.
They had John Deere's in them.
Okay.
Mr. Jones can enlighten you on the John Deere engines in them.
Well, thank God we got a Caterpillar.
So we asked for the Caterpillar engine in it.
Okay.
Service is right down the road.
Yeah.
Gotta keep up Campbell's commission.
Richie, you're on board with this?
Mr. Jones.
So it was actually Richie's idea that he came up with, to try to save us some money on that appreciation account. Also, one of the bulldozers we buy is electric. It's got a diesel engine in it, but it's a smaller engine and it's electric. It runs through electric drive motors. Huh? Not battery, it ain't got batteries in it, it runs off a generator. So.
People have to be real careful around it, you can't hear it.
We checked them out, done research on them. Some of them down here in Georgetown operating, we went and looked at them, touched them, filled them. Everybody felt comfortable with them. It saved us about 20% in fuel cost.
Wow.
The other good thing is after it gets about 12,000 hours on it, you can spend about $7,000 on it and it'll last for another 8,000 hours.
As the treasurer and looking at your fuel and oil costs, it's a good thing that we saved 20% of that. That's a lot of money. Will it save 20% of the oil?
Not the oil, but it will. It idles at 1,100 RPMs, and you can get it down lower, but it's operating at about 1,100 RPMs compared to some of them we're running at 2,000 RPMs, 1,600, 2,000 RPMs. So the motor's just sitting there idling. And
The fuel consumption is $40,000, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that what you figured?
Yes, expensive. That and the oil is tremendous.
It's the lifeblood you got to.
We went to Georgetown County and there's a company down there that pushes stumps for the paper companies. They slice the stumps off and they've been running one for 2 years and testing it for CAD and we met the engineer down there last week. Owner's son grew up in a piece of equipment and he said, he said, I don't care if you buy one or not, I ain't making a cent off that. But we're hoping we can replace all ours with this piece of equipment. And it's just the fact that, the generator runs,
Drive motors.
drive motors. The drive motors are electric. There's a generator on it that makes the power. And John and I went down, and John got in the piece of equipment and ran it. He was overly impressed with it, about the power. You don't, there's no lag time in reverse, forward. I think it's gonna be certainly wanted y'all to be aware of it, because get one, I'm sure some of you may hear from some adjoining equipment companies that, I wanna drive it. Yeah, well, you can.
You said the same thing I said.
Yeah.
Come out, we'll let you stay 12 hours with us one day.
Yeah.
He said he'd let you stay 12 hours a
Yeah.
month.
One thing I do appreciate you guys doing is that you actually go out and look at stuff.
Yeah, that's
You go out, you test them, you look at it, you don't just buy it, you touch it, feel it, so when you get it, you know what you got, rather than just having it delivered and trying to use it once you get it here. So I really appreciate that.
I called around and talked to
Kick the
a
tires
bunch of the
on
waste
this.
companies that had them and talked to them about them.
Right.
And you know, you don't never know what you get, and so Danny and I were at lunch that day, and I said, well, how about tell me about this piece of equipment? What do you think of it? Oh, I would never own one of them. You couldn't get me to buy another one of them. But he said, this one here, I'd replace my whole fleet. It don't run hot. He said, in California, it don't run hot. In Denver, I don't have any problem with it. He was the regional guy for waste management that was over the landfills. He spoke very highly of it. Then we talked to somebody from Louisiana, and they spoke very highly of it. So we called around the United States trying to find people that had them but had been operating them.
Good.
Well,
Take a tour when you get it. You haven't had it yet, right?
No, it's been about 6 months.
Sam can drive it for 6 hours and I'll take the other 6. Anything else, Mike?
That's it.
We could do snow.
You made a recommendation?
Well, it was approved in the
already
budget, it was
so-
approved in the budget, so they just went and go issue the purchase orders, and I think you've already done that. And it's not-
Looks like a prudent move, thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you.
good information session. We really enjoyed that. Thanks. Okay, nominating committee, Mr. Johnson?
Nominating committee, we met on June 19th, and me, Ms. Creech, and Mr. Campbell. We pretty much nominated everybody in their current position. We put them right back there, thought y'all done a good job. That would be Chairman Michael Hughes, Vice Chairman Bo Ives, Secretary Michael Campbell, and Treasurer Ann Creech. And that's
Right, so I need a,
I move that the recommendation of the nomination committee be accepted as read.
That's at the annual meeting, we do that.
Do it at the annual
do
meeting.
that annual meeting.
Well,
I still got some time, don't I?
We know Carl thinks.
We have any old business? Hearing none, we'll move to new business. We have some surplus material. Mike?
Okay, we have a couple pieces of equipment that we need to get approval from the board to sell. The reason being is we think that the sale price will be more than 10,000. Anything under 10,000, Mr. Knight can approve, but anything above 10,000 has to be approved by the board. We have two pieces of equipment that we would like to sell. One of them being a Bobcat skid steer loader, just a regular Bobcat skid steer, and a Ken-Card hydro seeder. And we'd like to get permission from the board to sell this piece of equipment.
A Chem card what?
Hydro seeder.
Hydro seed?
Kincaid? I typed it wrong. I put a D.
I make a motion
So it's a hydroseeder where we seed the sides of the slopes with thing, we bought a new one about a year or so ago.
Okay.
We're trying to get rid of the old one.
Some stuff we don't need, right?
Yeah,
Who is the auctioneer that you use, by the way?
Gov Deals.
Say again?
Gov Deals.
GovD, oh, okay.
Computer,
Right,
they bid on it.
Right.
Online.
right.
Yeah.
We used them at the county for years. And they-
If you want one, get on there and bid.
You got a bid for it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So we'll need a motion from y'all.
I made a motion that you,
Second.
It's been properly moved in second. Any questions? All those in favor, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
And the motion is carried. All right, round table discussion. Anything for round table discussion?
Yes, our August 27 meeting conflicts with the Quad State SWANA meeting up in Asheville, North Carolina. So we need to think about in July, moving the August meeting. And everybody decides to go to Asheville for the
We can wait till next day to get.
Yeah, what I'll do is I'll have Esther look at some dates.
Okay.
And then we'll figure out what dates are better, and we'll just do that in July. And make sure that,
Something that we
it's
need to
okay.
think
Because I
about.
think a lot of people have decided that they want to go to Asheville, so that shouldn't be a problem.
Okay. And the other thing that I had before I found out I was chairman of the recycling committee is wanted to discuss thank you very much, Michael. I just,
Pam keeps up with that for me, so you got rope into it again.
Thought Pam was your vice chair, wasn't she?
yeah, Pam's vice chair. Yeah, she is.
Yeah,
I was gonna announce that. Thank you for preempting me, Sam. That makes my job so much easier.
Pam has been chomping at the bits for a recycling meeting since last year this time. But no, really, we do need to do that.
Okay, and one thing that I talked with Danny last year when we went at the League of City over at Briarcliff is that my suggestion was that we host the League of Cities here, schedule it as an afternoon meeting where we got tour of the facility. And if they don't want to tour the facility, they can watch the video that Mike showed earlier about what's happening out there, that type of thing, and then meet in here at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, whatever else for munchies, goodies, and a catered dinner. That's something that I think would do a lot to help our relationship with the League of Cities and give them a little bit better understanding of what's happening. It really turns out that we get a lot of press here, a lot of information, a lot of people really realize that we're here, but I don't think they realize the depth of things that we go into, things that we're confronted with and whatever else. I just gave Pam an article on a restaurant that is now real big onto recycling, and to help probably bolster our image in the public is maybe we ought to have a quarterly recipient or a monthly recipient or whatever else of a business that has done to use the old military expression, gone above and beyond the call of duty for recycling, and recognize them through a press release and a paper they can hang on a wall like a resolution.
Something similar to
Something,
that,
okay.
that we did a couple of things ago.
Okay.
But I agree with you, we definitely need to follow that up, and the one he gave me was croissants, hook and barrel. I don't know if anyone has eaten there. I've eaten there at both of those, and they're excellent, and they do use a lot of their own dishes, but anything that goes out, from what I've seen, is on recyclable or compostable things there. And to add to that, Greenpeace is doing evaluation of grocers now. And there are 2 of those that are in the top 5 that they say are the best in the country, and that's Aldi's. And they didn't say that Aldi's was because they don't give out bags or anything. They said they were because they have an actual plastics reduction target date. that they will not use, and they have a refill reuse system where it comes to the plastic filler, film kind of things they use. And the second one was Kroger, because they have a plan to ban single-use plastic checkout bags as well as the refill and reuse system. So, Trader Joe's is, which is close to us, but the Aldi's and Kroger's are ones that we deal with every day. So, as I said, a lot of these, our legislators should be really open to working with us on some of the things we use, because the actual stores in South
They're
Carolina
gonna bypass the legislature.
are doing that and are more intent on it. So these businesses are not gonna be giving the legislators a hard time. They're doing it before our legislators are actually getting on board, so.
And they're not paying lobbyists
No.
to fight something, so they don't know about these people.
That's
They
right.
just know about the ones that's fighting.
At all.
And they know it's in their own interest.
Right, and so we need to, Carl, I appreciate that, and we need to continue this, and we need to have a list of these. And what is going on, when we write something up and take to the legislature, just have them see that, and I'd like us to do that this year, because I think there's going to be another big lobby push for them to do that.
Second biennial, second biennial, it's always the
route
toughest.
for them.
And we need to really be ahead of the game when that legislature starts.
And when we recognize these businesses, I think it's important that, you know, we put out a press release and let the media know that it's going on.
And I do too.
That way it turns out that, hey, you know, that's something other than just a hole in the ground out there on Highway 90 where we dump our tin cans and plastic bottles and whatever else.
Well, I think that's a great idea, and it's something that we really need to do, but I think a lot of people, businesses are realizing that it's in their best interest
Yeah,
to start
absolutely.
doing away with this plastic stuff. I mean, they can read and look and see what's going on as well as anybody else. And we know that the legislation process is very slow and most of the time not in the favor of the people who are really trying to do something. So, yeah, recognizing those folks would be a good thing.
Time there was a recycling bottle bill, the people that killed it up in Columbia all were members of the legislature that were owners or part owners of restaurants, whatever else, and they just didn't want to deal with the,
They didn't want to do it.
and they just didn't want to deal with it. You know,
Well, it's really, appalling when you look at the legislation, a lot of it, even locally, we invited, the council, to come out and actually take a tour of the landfill. And we have people sitting around the table that are making decisions about things that don't even know what it looks like. I mean, have never been out there, you know, have no idea what's going on out there, but yet you can make a determination without seeing it. And that's what I'm saying. Mike does a great job. That would be like buying a piece of equipment and never seen it. When it show up, it doesn't start. And that's the same thing that we have. And in the trying, I'm still working on our folks who won't answer the phone. They must see my name on there. So, I'll use an anonymous name the next time and
so
see if
we
I
don't
can
know who it is.
get some of our legislators to come out here and see. But I think most people, when they come and see what we're doing out here, are really fascinated about what's happening. And I was just looking at the pictures here with that Mike was showing. It's clean out there.
Yeah, it is, that's a neat operation.
It looks good out there. It's clean out there. I mean, you know.
Especially now that we have better optics.
Yeah, you wouldn't expect to see that, you know, on a landfill. And I think people need to see that.
That's right.
Yeah, and that's good out there.
And we'll contact the League of Cities.
Okay.
If it's the board wishes, I'll contact Mayor Hatley and see if we can go ahead and set a meeting here for the next League of Cities meeting. I don't know. You know, they have, I don't think they have a set schedule, but I'll contact her.
Was it not in July? Wasn't there some mention about some latter part of July maybe? Yeah.
I can't remember the last time we went over Briarcliff, but that was that. Do a lot for them to get a better understanding, and my only suggestion, the event turns out to be a rain day and we can't do a tour outside, we'll just watch Mike's video here on the nation from there.
But we're planning on a tour, those are going to come early. I think
Tourism order, absolutely. Absolutely.
Thurman McGlam from Little River, came by today and we spent an hour. What we do here and him being in the heavy equipment construction. Recognized, when he recognizes that it's a good thing to back, you know
That's right.
you're doing pretty good.
That's right. No, that,
Hey, anything else? Bo?
I'd just like to say it was a privilege to participate in the grand opening of the Myrtle Beach Art Museum last Saturday. And I really felt thrilled that we were part of that and our role in it, and I'm real pleased at our participation.
Talked to Jim Swain, Saturday morning, and he said that he had attended a NOAA convention. And he says that the show here and the participation here was way greater than anything at NOAA.
yeah, they were absolutely super.
You saw a slide of Pam in front of dolphins. You'd swear they were glass.
Yeah.
When you got up close, you saw it was all bits and pieces of plastic material that's been discarded. Just wonderful work.
Oh, yeah.
I was amazed at the coloring and the work that those people actually did on there.
How many red plastic things?
Yeah, that red plastic, I was,
Red plastic, I asked them, I said, what, did you paint it? And they said, no, they said they just collected it and that's the way it looked, and it looked just like it was coming out of the wall.
yeah.
That was amazing.
They did a great job.
Yeah. The other thing was the lady that said she had looked at the coral and how it had turned white and was lighted, and she was telling the people how great that was until they told her
That was the last gasp.
that's its last gasp, it dies when it does that. And that's what she did her sculpture on. And the pieces of plastic that she cut to actually really look like different pieces of coral was just amazing.
Well, you and Danny did a great job on stuffing plasters.
You did.
And,
You guys did a
It
great
was
job.
fun.
we appreciate that, and to make sure that you had stuffed it right, I did go by later that night and look at it, and it looked like
Check
y'all
it
did a
out.
great job. I wanted
We had a lot of help of a lot of children.
Thank you for doing that,
The
yeah.
only disappointment I had on that Friday is I was standing in the back room and I couldn't hear Pam, so I just had to go up and welcome everybody.
Name duck was Ringo, and Bo will have to tell you what.
Because the Beatles, I forget what album it was, but I'd like to be by the sea in the octopus's garden. And Ringo wrote the song and sang it.
Yeah.
You
You were a mere child when the Beatles.
Oh, but of course, absolutely.
I was in sixth grade.
Who are the Beatles?
When Norfleet came in, I said, geez, it's a great white sport coat. I said, where's the pink carnation? And there's about 6 people around the room that says, what's that? And the other six of us knew.
Marty Robbins.
Right.
All right, this roundtable discussion.
All I had were just those 2 items of the
Pam, you got something?
The August meeting.
Okay. All right, there's no need for an executive session, so I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, the meeting has been adjourned.